Hello, I'm Sridhar. In this video, I'm going to explain about the concepts of metallurgy. Okay, in this video, I'm going to explain about the concepts of metallurgy. Okay, at this end of the period, we may know about the characteristics of metals and non-metals and terms related to the metallurgy. Now, let us see. Okay, characteristics of metals. Okay, this metallurgy means uh, a branch of a science which deals about the extraction of metals and their uses is called as metallurgy. Mainly, this metallurgy process is very useful in our daily life and industrial importance. Okay, these metals are plays an important role in our daily life. For example, plants can use the magnesium metal in a photosynthesis process. Okay, many kind of metals are useful in our daily life in our body: calcium, magnesium, zinc, etc. But these metals are not available in our naturally. That may be combined with some other materials in that may be oxide nature, sulfide natures, carbonate, bicarbonate, hydrated mode. Means mainly the metals are not available in directly in the nature, but maybe that may be available in combined state with other materials. Because of high reactivity of the metals that may be combined with another material, but those cannot useful directly in our daily life. Okay, that needs some process. Means that extraction should be uh, takes from the metals material. Okay, now let us see the some metals characteristics. A metal is a material that is typically hard, opaque, shiny, and a good electrical and thermal conductivity. Okay, metals is a material. It is a typically hard, opaque, shiny, and has good electrical and thermal conductivity. Metals are generally malleable because malleable means they can be hammered or pressed permanently out of the shape without breaking or cracking, as well as feasible feasible because they are able to be fused or melted, and also shows the ductile nature, that is able to drawn into a thin wire. Mainly here the metals are very hard and also shows having a shiny nature and a opaque character, and the metal shows good electrical and thermal conductivities, electrical and thermal conductivity, and the metal shows the malleable, ductile, fusible properties. Malleable means, okay, the metal can be hammered or pressed permanently out of shape without breaking or cracking, and also it shows fusible means able to be fused or melted. Okay, this can be melted, this can be converted to melts or in a fused state, and also show the ductile properties means thin wires. Okay, mean this material can be mixed into a thin wires. Means these kind of properties shows the metals. Number one, these are hard in nature, these are opaque in nature. This shows the metallic luster. They can be hammered into the sorry. They shows the good malleable and ductile properties. This shows the good thermal and electrical conductivity nature. Now let us see the examples for the metals are potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, etc. Okay, this metal forms the metal oxides with the oxygens. These metals contains one or two valency electrons in their valency shell. And next one is metals are acting as good reducing agents. Okay, metals are acting as good reducing agents. Metals reacts with the dilute acids and it liberates the hydrogen. Okay, when metal reacts with the carbonate and bicarbonate, it liberates the carbon dioxide. Number one, metals are having typically hard in nature, shiny surfaces. It shows the good conductors, and also it is also shows the good thermal conductivity nature. These are having malleable properties. This shows the ductile properties. This shows the fusible property, and these metals are reacts with the dilute acids, liberates the hydrogen gas. And metals reacts with the carbonate and bicarbonates, it liberates the carbon dioxide. Metals are acting as good reducing agents. These metals contains one or two valency electrons in their valence in their outer shell. Metals can participate into the chemical reactions by the losing of electrons. By the losing of electrons. Next one is, let us see the non-metals. Okay, these non-metals may be dull in nature, soft in nature, and a lack of metallic attributes. Okay, this physically, these non-metals tend to be highly volatile, means easily vaporized, have low elasticity, have low elasticity, and are good insulators of heat and electricity. Heat and electricity. Okay, and next one is, mostly these non-metals are gases, liquids, and some are the solids. Okay, the gases are, the 17 elements are generally classified as non-metals. That is, most are the gases. That is, hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. Once again, I'm repeating, the most of the non-metals are gases, that is, hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. Okay, one is a liquid is there in the state of non-metal, that is bromine, and a few other solids are there, that is carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, selenium, and iodine. Okay, the solids are non-metal state, that is carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, selenium, and iodine. And iodine. These are the total 17 non-metals are there in periodic table. Okay, and next one is, mainly these metals, non-metals are dull in nature and soft in nature, and also acts as insulators. These may be available in the form of solid, liquid, and gaseous state. And also these were not shows the metallic luster property, and also this cannot shows the malleable property, means when are hammered, this cannot modify. This non-metals does not shows the ductile properties. This non-metals does not liberates the hydrogen gas when it is reacts with the dilute acids. And next one is this non-metals does not liberates the carbon dioxide when it reacts with the carbonates and bicarbonates. Okay, these non-metals are acting as good oxidizing agents. Okay, these non-metals are having 3 to 7 valency electrons in their valency shell or outer shell. Okay, these non-metals can participate into the chemical reactions by the gaining or sharing of electrons. Okay, once again I'm repeating the non-metals characteristics. Non-metals are very soft in nature. These are available in three stages mostly. These were volatile components mostly. There are 17 elements are there, that is most of the gases that may be hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine, neon, chlorine, argon, krypton, xenon, and radon. One is a liquid is there, that is bromine, and a few other solids are there, that is carbon, phosphorus, sulfur, selenium, and iron. Okay, mostly these non-metals does not shows the ductile property and malleable property, and also does not shows the metallic luster. Metallic luster. These non-metals are acting as good oxidizing agents. These non-metals can contain 3 to 7 valency electrons in their outer shell. This non-metal can participate into the chemical reactions by the gaining or sharing of the electrons. Okay. And next one is, these non-metals are acting as good insulators of heat and electricity. Now let us see the properties with the relationship of metals and non-metals. Based on the properties, this classification is like this. State at a room temperature, we observe metal is a solid, one is only a liquid, that is mercury. The non-metals may have solid or liquid or gas. When we take the density property, the property of metals, what of density for the metal is very high, for non-metal is very low. And when we observe the surface property, when we observe the metals, it has shiny surfaces. The non-metals are having dull surfaces. Dull surfaces. Okay, the boiling point and melting point, when we observe the boiling point and melting point of the metals are very high, for the non-metal is low. Effect of hammering means that means malleable property shaped when we observe for the metals shaped without breaking, but it not shows the non-metals that easily breaks. Then we observe the magnetic property for the metals. We observe some a few examples. Iron, like for non-metals, that is, for non-metals the magnetic property it does not shows. Yeah, the conductivity nature, when we observe in the case of heat, for the metal is very high or good conductivity nature shows the metals, the non-metal does not shows the conductivity in nature. Next, conduction of electricity property, it is good for the metals, very poor for the non-metals. Okay, when it reacts with the acids, the for the metals it liberates the hydrogen gas, but the non-metals does not gives the hydrogen gas. Okay, when we observe the reaction between the carbonate and bicarbonates, that is, for the metal is it is gives carbon dioxide, but for non-metals it does not. Okay, these metals contains one or two valency electrons. Metals are acting as good reducing agent. Non-metals are acting as good oxidizing agent. Metals are participate in the chemical reactions by the losing of electrons. In the case of non-metals, metals does not gives the metals participate non-metals can participate into the chemical reactions by the sharing or gaining of the electrons. Once again, I'm repeating the definitions of properties of this one. The temperature nature, at the room temperature the metals are solids, non-metals are solid or liquid or gas. Metals are hard, non-metals are soft. The density of the metal is high, for the non-metal is low. The melting point and boiling point values are very high for the metals. For the non-metals are it is below. The magnetic property shows the metals but not shows the non-metals. Metal shows the malleable and ductile property, but non-metal does not show the malleable and ductile property. The conduction of heat is good for the metals and very good for the non-metals. The conduction of electricity is good for metals, very poor for the non-metals. Metals are good reducing agents. Non-metals are good oxidizing agents. Metals contains one or two valency electrons in their valency shell. Non-metals containing 3 to 7 valency electrons. Metals can participate into the chemical reactions by the gaining by the losing of electrons. Non-metals can participate into the chemical reactions by the sharing or gaining of the electrons. Metals liberates the hydrogen gas when it reacts with the dilute acids. Metals does not gives the hydrogen gas when it reacts with the dilute acids. Metals liberates the carbon dioxide when it reacts with the carbonate and bicarbonates. But the nonmetal does not use the carbonate carbon dioxide when it reacts with the nonmetals sorry react with dilute acids. Now let us see the terminologies of this topic. What is the metallurgy? What is the metallurgy? Metallurgy is a domain of materials science and engineering that studies physical and chemical behavior of metallic elements, their intermetallic compounds, and their mixtures, which are called as alloys. Okay, here the metallurgy is a domain of materials science and engineering that studies the physical and chemical behavior of elements, their inner metallic compounds, and their mixtures, which are called as alloys. Okay, metallurgy comprises of three steps, that is concentration of ore, isolation of a metal from the concentrated ore, purification of the metallurgy. Okay, it is mainly contained three types, three steps. Concentration of ore, isolation of metal from the concentrated ore, and purification of the metal. Okay, from by these three steps, metal can be extracted from the material. Now let us see the terminologies of this concept. Minerals. What is the naturally occurring material which containing metal either in native state or in fused state, either in native state or in fused state is called as minerals. Example: hematite, bauxite, galena, corundum, zincite, calcium carbonate, etc. Once again, I'm repeating: a naturally occurring material which contains the metal either in native state or in fused state. Examples for minerals are bauxite, galena, corundum, hematite, zincite, diaspore, etc. Next one is ore. A mineral from which metal can be extracted more profitable is called as ore. A mineral from which metal can be extracted more profitable is called as ore. Okay, a metal can be available in different ways. For example, aluminum is available in different forms, that is bauxite, diaspore, corund. But these are all the sources of the aluminum. But among these three, one is very useful to extract the metal of aluminum, that is bauxite. Here, the bauxite is the ore of the aluminum. Means okay, there are different sources are there for the extraction of metal of aluminum, but among them only one is very suitable for the extraction of more amount of metal, that is called here ore. Okay, the ore of lead is galena. The ore of aluminum is bauxite. And next one is flux. Flux, a chemical substance which is used to removal of impurities from the ore is called as flux. A chemical substance which is used to removal of impurities is called as flux. Means because of what is the impurities? Means gang. Okay, the earth three impurities are associated with the ore or mineral is called as Gang. The three impurities may be clay, stones, dust, sand, etc. Okay, these are also called as gang or matrix. The three impurities are associated with the gang or the three impurities are associated with the mineral or ore is called as flux, sorry, gang or matrix. Okay, to removal of these impurities from the ore, we have to use one chemical substance. Then it is known as flux, a chemical substance which is used to removal of impurities. Which is used to removal of impurities is called as flux. These fluxes are again two types: acidic flux and basic flux. Definition of flux: acidic flux is a flux which is used to removal of basic impurities like calcium oxide and magnesium oxide is called as acidic flux. That is, in the case of acidic fluxes, we may use silica SiO2. And next one is basic flux. The flux which is used to removal of acidic impurities like silica, etc. is called as basic flux. Okay, in this case of basic flux, we may use calcium oxide and magnesium oxide, etc. For the case, in the case of these calcium oxide and magnesium oxides are basic impurities. To remove the impurities of acidic fluxes, acidic impurities like silica and phosphorus pentoxide, etc. And next one is slag. A waste matter is separated from the metals during the extraction of ores. Is called as slag. A fusible product formed by the reaction of flux and gangue is called as slag. The separation of mineral from the gangue is known as mineral processing. Now let us see the some extractive techniques. Okay, the metal can extraction takes place in three methods. First one is concentration of ore, and second one is isolation of metal from the concentrated ore, and next last one is purification of metals. Okay, in the process of removing of impurities, the undesirable material from the ore are leaving behind the required material. means ore dressing. The process of removal of impurities from the ore is called as ore dressing or concentration of ore. Okay, this is the first method is useful for the removal of impurities from the ore that can be processed by hydraulic washing, magnetic separation, froth flotation, and leaching or levitation method. Now let us see here the next step is after the conduction of after the removal of impurities from the ore, we have to make the metallurgical process, then we get the metal. Pyrometallurgy is classified into following categories, that is calcination, roasting, smelting, and then last one, after getting the metal, we may refining we may refine the metal. Now let us see the calcination. Calcination is a heating to the high temperatures in the absence of air or oxygen. The main purpose of calcination of ores are converted the carbonates and hydronates into hydroxides or into oxides. Mainly, this can be processed. The process of heating of ore in the absence of oxygen below its melting point is called as calcination. Okay, this kind of calcination process is useful for the hydroxide and carbonate ores. Okay, in this kind of hydroxide and carbonated ores, in the calcination process, this may convert into the oxides. Example, zinc carbonate gives rise to zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. Next one is calcium carbonate gives rise to calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. And next one is hydrated ore is aluminum hydroxide gives rise to aluminum plus 3 moles of water molecule. Okay, this is the calcination process. Okay, this is the blast furnace. Our next one is roasting. The process of strong heating of ore in the presence of excess amount of oxygen below its melting point is called as roasting. Okay, this roasting process is useful for the sulfide ores and this can be converted into these oxides or some sulfates, and it is useful for the remove the impurities like sulfur, arsenic, and antimony, and it is also useful for the to remove the moisture. Okay, to oxidize easily oxidizable substances. Okay, it is mainly used for the sulfide ores. It converts into the sulfides into the oxides. Let us see here example, zinc sulfide plus 3O2 gives rise to zinc oxide plus SO2. Iron sulfide plus 11O2 gives rise to Fe2O3 plus 8SO2. And next one is last one is smelting is a form of the extractive metallurgy. Its main use to produce a base metal from its ore. Smelting makes the use of heat and a driving of elements as gases or slag and leaving only the metal base behind. The reducing agent is commonly is a source of carbon, such as coke, and earlier times charcoal. Okay, mainly in this kind of metallurgical process of smelting, the heating of ore takes place in the presence of reducing agent. Sometimes reducing agent and flux. Okay, example to hematite. When on heating with the reducing agent, it converts into directly iron and carbon dioxide. If it may contain any impurities like calcium oxide is there, so that can be separated with the calcium oxide is there that can be separated by the addition of flux along with the reducing agent in the smelting process, that can be separated out. Thank you. In this topic, we have to discuss about the characteristics of metals and non-metals, and also we discussed the terminology relevant to the uh, metallurgy. It is mineral, ore, slag, flux, gang, etc. And also we discussed about the some processes like roasting, calcination, and smelting. Okay, thank you.